The 2014 Volkswagen Touareg is such a well-rounded 5-passenger SUV that its biggest problem might be the VW badge on its grille. That's because many Americans still think of Volkswagen as a mainstream brand that has no business selling a luxury vehicle. But here's the Touareg story. The midsize SUV is actually the product of a joint venture with Audi and Porsche, so it has a more regal pedigree than just about anything else in its price range. When we look at the Touareg, we don't see an overpriced Volkswagen, we see a bargain price Cayenne. So let's go ahead and check out this 2014 Volkswagen Touareg. Now, the 2014 Volkswagen Touareg, the lineup sees a few additions. The Touareg X Special Edition celebrates the model's 10th birthday, while the R-Line adds a sporty flavor to the midsize SUV. And then you have the Executive and Hybrid, which get an exclusive top view camera system, and the Executive nabs LED taillights. And lastly, most versions now come standard with keyless entry and ignition and a hands-free, foot-activated power liftgate. Now this one I have here is a TDI Sport with nav, and it just costs around near of $53,000. Now here's the key fob design for the vehicle. I love the key fob design. You have your VW badge right there, your panic button, your unlock to release your tailgate, and then your lock button too. It has a very premium feel, especially in this high gloss black, and then you have nice chrome running around it too. Now as far as styling goes on the Touareg, I think it's very handsome. I really like the LED daytime running lights that VW puts on their cars, and it kind of looks like it just came right off the Golf, and I like the Golf's LED daytime running lights. And then you have bi-xenon headlights too. Now you do have smart key access on all 4 doors, and this is a cool silver metallic exterior with black leatherette seating. And your power driver's seat with power recline too. Now stepping on into the Touareg, it has a pretty easy step-in height. And here's the interior design of the Touareg. Now there's essentially 2 ways to start the Touareg. Now one way is that you can insert the key and then put your foot on the brake and then twist it. Or you can have the key inserted but not twisting it at all, and then put your foot on the brake and then hit the button to start. Which makes me think, why do you need to have 2 different ways to start the car? I guess some people still like to normally just twist it and put your foot on the brake, and it just doesn't make sense to me. I just want one way to start it and have the key inserted or whatever, and then push the button to start. Or not even have to have the key inserted at all, which doesn't make sense to me at all. But I'm just going to twist it and then put my foot on the brake and then start it. And of course what you're hearing is that 3-liter TDI clean diesel engine. Now coming to the transmission, you have an 8-speed automatic with manual shiftability, of course. And then putting it into reverse displays your rear view camera. And then you have many different options of the way you want the rear view camera to be. And then you can also change the display, like the brightness, the contrast, as well as the color too. So pretty neat. Then you also do have an electronic parking brake as well. And let's go ahead and turn the lights and the hazards too. Driver's window is fully automatic, and let's go ahead and pop the hood, check out the engine bay. Heated exterior mirrors with LED turn signals integrated onto the mirrors. And you actually do have 18-inch alloy wheels with all-season tires. Now, like I said, you do have bi-xenon headlights with your trendy LED daytime running lights and halogen fogs too. Kind of reminds me of the Golf when it comes to the front end, and I quite like it a lot. Now under the hood of this Touareg, you will find a 3-liter turbo diesel V6 producing 240 horses with 406 pound-feet of torque. That is the big number here, is the amount of torque it has, with EPA numbers being 20 in the city and 29 on the highway as well. Now, this powertrain is actually very competitive against the Grand Cherokee's diesel V6 engine. Very, very competitive. It's pretty refined too. But EPA numbers are slightly better than the Grand Cherokee. Now, competitors of the Touareg, it's kind of in a class of its own, I have to say, kind of like the Grand Cherokee. And I have to say the Grand Cherokee might be its only main competitor here. But the Grand Cherokee has true off-road capabilities that the Touareg just cannot match. However, some competitors might be the Ford Explorer, maybe the Nissan Pathfinder. However, like I said, this is definitely in a class of its own. But maybe the Porsche Cayenne, I have to say, but even then the Porsche Cayenne is much more expensive than the Touareg, but this is kind of what makes it in a class of its own and very unique in its own way. Now, pricing of the Touareg starts at $44,570 for the Sport model, and then for the Luxe model starts at $52,050, and then you have the R line, which starts at $54,690, and then the Executive, $57,935. Then the TDI Sport, which starts at $51,610, and then the TDI can go all the way up to $61,435 for the Executive TDI. And then you have the Hybrid, which starts at a whopping $64,745. So it can get quite up there. Now, competitors of the Touareg range from the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the Ford Explorer, and the Touareg is sort of like the Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's kind of in a class of its own. It's pretty premium and kind of has a little bit of a premium price. And I think it's very comparable to a Grand Cherokee. But some other competitors might include maybe the Honda Pilot, maybe. But the Touareg, like I said, Now coming to the rear, I love those German style taillights. And then you have dual exhaust tips and a rear window wiper with a rear window defroster. Touareg logo right there. And then your TDI logo right there too. And a rear LED third brake light too. Now this one also does have a roof rack at the top as well. And I do really like this nice chrome strip that runs along right there. It looks very premium in my opinion. Kind of gives it a more classy look. Now, like I said, EPA estimates are 20 in the city and 29 on the highway, and look for 23 combined. And like I said, total vehicle pricing is right near $53,000, but the actual price is $53,705. Your power windows, child safety locks, power door locks, and then your power mirrors as well. Nice soft touch armrest, and it's nice and soft to the touch on the upper door panel and as well as on the mid door panel too. And you have this nice aluminum trim. And let's go ahead and rev it up and see how she sounds. Now, as far as build quality materials go on the Touareg, they're excellent. You have nice soft touch materials everywhere, padded dashboard, padded right here, and it's just pretty much padded everywhere, almost everywhere you touch too. And the build is just excellent. Everything fits well together, no gaps or anything of that nature. However, what I do not like about this interior design, it's very Spartan looking, and I really just don't like it because it's just too black in my opinion. It needs a little more contrast. This interior is just very plain looking in my opinion. I think the Grand Cherokee has more of a classier type of feel on the interior, and it just pops out more. This interior just is kind of boring, and it kind of reminds me of like the Ford Explorer or something, where it's all black and stuff, and I just don't like those kind of interiors. They just need to have more contrast. Now, as far as the steering and the handling goes on the Touareg, it's actually pretty good. The feedback is great as well, and it's very, very precise in its handling. Now, as far as visibility goes on the Touareg, it's actually pretty good. There's lots of glass area over here, and then lots of glass area, and outward visibility is also pretty good too. And then, however, the mirrors do show a little bit. They show quite a lot, but you don't have blind spot monitoring or anything like that, which I'm pretty surprised about too. But the visibility for the most part is good. One of the best I've ever tested in an SUV. Now, as far as the seating comfort goes, VW does a pretty good imitation of leather. It definitely will fool some friends into thinking it's real leather, but it's really not. It's leatherette seats. However, the comfort of them are very superb. Nice, right amount of side bolstering, and then the thigh support is also pretty good too. Now let's get to the main interface here. I particularly love this interface, and I wish they would use this more on other low-end VWs like the Golf and the Jetta, because the responsiveness is great on the system, as well as the rendering too. Very clear and easy to read, and just the right size as well. I love this system, and the responsiveness is just exquisite. And then you have your navigation system, and I like the nav for the most part. It kind of reminds me of Garmin a little bit. However, I think they can make it pop out a little bit more. It looks a little bit childish, I have to say. And you can enter your destination. You can do it by voice, of course, too. And you have a tour mode. Go back to your map. Can change it if you want it in 2D or 3D. And you do have live traffic too. Now, coming to your car, this is pretty interesting. This right here, this shows you your steering angle. Never really seen that on any car, I have to say. This is the first time I've ever seen that. And then this is your compass right here, and then it shows you your altitude as well. And you have your service and oil level, your settings, your vehicle settings like your instrument cluster, garage door opener, lights and vision, different various things. And you could change different settings like the radio, the navigation, the Bluetooth, and many different settings. Let's just go to radio. You can turn HD radio on and off if you want. You can change it if you want in English, Spanish, or whatever. Different navigation settings, voice operation. Responsiveness is just excellent. I just love the responsiveness. And then you can also change your climate controls if you don't want to use these buttons down here. And you do have dual zone automatic climate control too, as well. And I love how they give you the option of hard knobs, hard touch buttons, as well as knobs too, instead of touchscreen buttons only. But they do give you the option of touchscreen buttons, which I love. But overall, I love this system. Now, coming up here, you have a little storage cubby up there. Very high quality, lined with felt too. Then you have an auto dimming rear view mirror, your interior illumination lighting, garage home link, no sunroof or no panoramic sunroof. For $53,000, I definitely expect that. Now coming down here, you have your knob to switch if you want to go to on-road or off-road, and then it shows you right here what mode you're in, and then it shows you your steering angle too up there. And then coming to your center console, down there you have a 12-volt power outlet as well as a media interface port right there. Then nice soft touch center console too, nice and stitched as well. Now coming down here, you have a 12-volt power outlet and a little storage cubby right there. Then you also do have your traction control right there. Now coming to your little TFT display in the center screen right there, it's all controlled by these buttons right here. And basically it's going to show you different vehicle information, like the directions for your navigation system and as well as an integrated compass too. And then it's also going to show you what radio station you're on, and of course your trip odometer and the Fahrenheit and your Bluetooth phone connectivity and vehicle information like your fuel economy data as well as your range and everything like that. And you could check your tire pressure, as tire pressure monitoring of course too. And I like this TFT display. I think the rendering is great of it and it's very simple. I really like it. Very easy to use, very easy to get used to. Now as far as the gauges go, I like the gauges. They're very clear, simple, easy to read. I really like these gauges a lot. Now as far as the steering wheel design goes, I love the steering wheel. It is leather wrapped too, of course, and you have this nice high gloss black going around here. And I like the steering wheel design for the most part. I think they could add some aluminum right here to make it pop out a little bit more, but I like it a lot. And then these controls over right here are going to go for your media interface. All these controls control your media interface. And right here is your voice recognition button too, and your steering wheel mounted audio controls and your seat track and your phone. Now as far as steering goes and handling in the Touareg goes, it's pretty well controlled, I have to say. Very precise in its steering, and the feedback is great too. Now as far as visibility goes, it's actually pretty good, even though there's no things like safety technologies like blind spot monitoring. Alright, and let's go ahead and shut down the Touareg. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of the car. And let's go ahead and check out the rear seat space as well as the trunk capacity. Let's go ahead and pop the tailgate. Now trunk space is actually okay if you're comparing it to a Jeep Grand Cherokee, but if you're comparing it to like a car like the Chevrolet Traverse, the Traverse is going to have a lot more cargo capacity. But I don't really even think the Touareg and the Traverse really compete very well with each other. But the Grand Cherokee, if you're comparing it to a Grand Cherokee, the Touareg has a little bit more space. You do have a 12-volt power outlet back here, and the rear seats do fold down to maximize cargo room. Now build and materials do follow through in the rear, of course. Still nice soft touch on the armrest and on the mid door panel, as well as on the upper door panel. Thank God they didn't cheapen out. Then you have your nice aluminum trim and then high gloss black finish too. And the second row seats do recline. I have to say, the space back here is actually pretty good, and this is where my driving position would be. I actually have more room back here than a Ford Explorer, which I just tested out a few days ago. And back here you have two power outlets, a 12-volt as well as a 115-volt. Then you have rear air vents and a little storage cubby right there. However, they're skipping out on features like heated rear seats, and then of course not being all leather, and then not even having a dual moonroof or even a sunroof at that. But you do have cup holders back here and a rear center armrest, but the comfort back here is just excellent, exquisite. However, also what I'm not noticing is dual map pockets. Very surprising. $53,000, no dual map pockets? I mean, come on, VW. But the comfort is just really good back here. And like I said, the second row seats do recline too. Alright. Powered passenger seat with power recline. Nice damp glove box compartment and line with felt too. Very high quality. Alrighty. So the Touareg is a great choice if you're looking for something a little different with a wide range of powertrains available, great build quality, and decent fuel mileage as well. However, its price can be a con for some for what you get out of it, and you can get a lot more out of other cars for a much lower price. However, with this car kind of competing with some luxury SUVs and kind of being in a class of its own, it makes it for a very unique SUV. So remember that this is Cameron Birch from Cameron's Car Reviews.